everybody, and welcome to Volume 64 of the One Piece Virgin Eggheads Book Club podcast, covering chapters 627 to 636, I believe, of the Fishman Island arc. I am your captain of the measly crew, Simeon Monkey D. Jones Jimmy, joined as always by your vice captain, Hody Aggie Jones!
But all I'm saying is that total egg supremacy, it is what it is.
Hody really came into his own this volume. The genius assassin behind a political attack who framed it on somebody else. And then he says his ultimate goal is to go to the UN and slaughter every single world leader. I mean, where is the flaw in the plan? I don't even know if I can call him a villain at this point. As soon as I saw he wants to go to the Reverie and kill them all, that's the most heroic dialogue in all of One Piece so far. But Aggie, enough of mine. What is your top of mind?
Well, it's a little unorthodox, I'm not gonna lie. But I think something that just really stood out to me is homeboy Vanderdecken. He decides, the course of action, really a Samson option, if you will. If he can't, he already said last time, if I can't have the princess, if I'm not her type, then she can just die. He has now boarded the Great Ark, and he, just like all these other items and various persons that he has thrown in Princess Shirahoshi's direction for such a length of time, 10 years or so, he's now decided he's going to throw the entire Great Ark that has not even moved. You see, the reason that this is the top of mind for me is because I have to ask myself, this mark fruit, a lot of these fruits that we've seen, they kind of, they can be very powerful, but they do seem to kind of have a ceiling of sorts still, I would say. When Akainu uses a magma attack, he isn't literally burning through the entire planet. There's there's a limit to these powers. So when Vanderdecken can basically just push ship that is half of the size of an entire island, and it just starts going, it starts flying in Princess Shirahoshi's direction. That was something that, even that's pretty much the last thing I think that happens in the entire volume. It starts a few chapters before that, and I don't know if I think I'm just having trouble coming to terms with this. It just seems, I'm having a Don Krieg armor moment all over again. What the fuck?
And I agree. I think it's an unholy bastardization of God's word, the Holy Bible. Noah's Ark is meant to be a symbol of hope and surviving in the face of horrible odds. But no, Oda, this atheist Japanese man, has twisted it. Now the Ark is going to be a deadly weapon to kill all these humans. I'm with you, Aggie. This is bad writing. It's immoral. And that devil fruit might be overpowered. It is what it is.
I guess we could say maybe this Ark, I guess maybe because it's a man-made structure, that's the difference. Something could still be as big as an entire country, but as long as it's so maybe, I guess,
Could he lock on to Eneru and then throw the entire planet at him at the moon? Would that work? What is the limit? Because I guess the Ark is its own individual object, but maybe the Earth is too.
I'm sure there's a wiki page out here somewhere that describes some sort of limit that's been theory crafted about this fruit, but I really can't be looking that up because I think maybe once long ago I went and clicked on something that I thought was okay, well, we've already went way past that, and I click on it and I was oh, and then it's brought back up at chapter 1000 or something, so I'm oh, okay, never mind.
You got super spoilered. It said Shamrock and Gunko land on a giant branch and Aggie's mind exploded. It's over. I can't read this anymore. What is the deal with this Ark? Because I think King Neptune says, the Ark, it must not be destroyed. It's so important. There's destiny involved in it. And then we also hear about this destiny of Luffy destroying Fishman Island. So are the two destinies connected? Is this Ark meant to save everybody when Luffy destroys the island?
Well, I kind of had trouble figuring out exactly how this was going to play out. I think up until about midway through this volume, because when Mistress Charlie, is that right?
One of the top tier waifus in the arc, in my opinion. She was looking pretty good here.
Sister,
Yeah, did we get Nota Box about that today?
Well, I believe Hody says something along the lines, it's after he shoots her, I think, with his water blast. He says something about like her being Arlong's sister. So I was like, hey, I mean, I guess maybe like hot fish woman for us, maybe giant jagged noses are like the Chad feature of their clan or whatever. So Arlong, he was his Chad mode. We just couldn't see it through our heterosexual male perspective.
Of course, yeah. If the shark is the king of the animals or the fish or whatever, and the man is Arlong, who's running the ship, it would make sense that a shark mermaid would be super sexy.
That's right. So up till this point, I'm like, oh well. My thought process had kind of been like, oh, Luffy, kind of in the way where we get Luffy, the conflict between him and Jimbei here, where he just wants to go after Hody, and Jimbei is willing to fight him here in the forest to keep him from acting hastily. So when I'm thinking, oh, Luffy is going to destroy Fishman Island, he's going to bring it to ruin, that's where my mind goes. It's not going to be something, obviously, that has malicious intent, but I could see him, especially when the Fishman pirates, we see how they can operate. They're not honorable to humans. They don't care about that. It's all about, doing for their people. So I could have seen something where Luffy is deceived or tricked, or his impulsive, hasty action is misdirected into something. But then, as the Neptune is captured and held hostage, brought to execution, the people are basically begging for Luffy to come destroy Fishman Island because the cruelty of Hody and his men is so extreme. They have 100,000 soldiers, 30,000 of which are unwilling human slaves. It's like, if something very bad is about to happen here, so if we can just maybe do something real quick and just a real snap your fingers Thanos kind of moment and get everybody the peaceful release of death instead of horrible Hody torture, and maybe that would be the way. But as we go, thankfully I never doubted Luffy or the Straw Hats at all, but we're seeing them able to employ enough power to really minimize the lethality of Hody and his army thus far. And I think maybe this ruin could be ruining the old and dying Fishman Island. Maybe the island, the future of the sunny tomorrow could be the result of this quote unquote ruin. Maybe it's more of an evolution. Sometimes structures need to be demolished in order to be rebuilt anew and better. Why not? Vegas hotels, why renovate it? Blow that shit up and build a brand new one. I'm sure that logic applies to everything that ever existed. It's been going in the news lately. I won't politicize the program too much, but it has been trending just in the last 48 hours, I think, for a certain political structure. Are you ready for my top of mind, Aggie? And it's been top of mind 2 weeks in a row now, because it was almost last week's top of mind. I was very hyped about some Sanji dialogue to Jimbei, and it finally happened. Would you care to guess, of all of his dialogue, which one stuck out to me? Well, I believe he is speaking to Jimbei. I think we spoke on last week about, Jimbei was kind of coincidentally, through his actions, led to horrible, devastating trauma for Nami. And so in this volume, in the first chapter, I believe Sanji said this to Jimbei, you should kill yourself now. It'll help ease a fraction of Nami's pain and suffering. That's not the exact words, but after all the memes about low tier God, I can't see it when he's just like, oh, you should kill yourself. I have to LTG-ify it a little bit. No, LTG's ripping off Sanji. Sanji said it first. That's right. And a bit shocking. I didn't think it was within Sanji's character to tell another man to kill himself like that, but it's very funny. And when you think about it, actually, it really makes the most sense because Sanji, we also see one of his new powers here. He basically has the CP9 Skywalk that develop just to
He
get
was so
away
transphobic. He learned how to fly.
Really, Sanji, he might be thinking with his second head, but I think he might have, the most heart in certain circumstances, and I think this would be one of those circumstances that would provoke that kind of behavior from him.
And to be fair, Sanji was up close and personal at I can't even talk today, Egg. I'm having a rough time. Arlong Park. So he saw, Nami was here, tortured and slaved away for 10 some odd years, and the money was, all a lie, stolen right out from under her. So he saw a literal child being tortured, and Jimbei even takes responsibility, and he says, hey, it was my intention to stop him if he ever ran amok, but Arlong bribed the local Navy officers. Hold the fuck up. 10 full years he's doing this, Jimbei. Oh, I didn't hear any word from the Navy? I guess he's not doing anything wrong. In 10 years, you never went to visit your old friend Arlong? Not once? You just assumed, he's probably not doing anything wrong to anybody. East Blue's probably fine.
With him saying that, and he's willing to start throwing hands with Luffy, no, what, you want to do that? No, you can't do that, I'm going to fight you. Is Jimbei, I'm thinking he's the gentle giant, but he might not be really, I don't know, man. It's,
we saw after he was like a Yakuza boss racist in the flashback, so he's an old gun now, and he's trying to change his ways for the better.
Yeah, and I think maybe after the Hody, reveal that we get in this volume of the action that he took that was not known allegedly to Jimbei, maybe that'll help solidify a little more. But yeah,
he's also like a political strategist, but he wants to manipulate the public into thinking Luffy's a hero. And he says, okay, you can fight Hody, but only under the right circumstances where everybody will support it. Which it is just straight up manipulation of the masses, right? Like Luffy should be able to go punch whoever he wants.
And it's interesting how he paints it. Maybe that Hody's reveal of his role in Queen Autohime's demise is really the determining factor here. But when they do start facing off, we flash back to Jimbei in the Forest of the Sea, and he's like, he'll become a martyr. He's going to radicalize all the fishmen to hate humans even more. But Luffy pulls up on this face-off after he gets, regurgitated, and just his hockey just basically handles all the business right away. It's like, well, should we be so concerned then if, who's he radicalizing? Like, Hody, he needed to pop 400% strength steroids just to even recover from one sword slash of Zoro. These are the radicals that we have to be worried about. Should we even really care? Well, we should just do the right thing, and I think it'll all work out eventually. I understand he doesn't want to destabilize his people, I suppose, but there are.
But if the idea is, if we see a human attacking a fish man, he'll just become a martyr. Bro, this dude is live streaming to the entire nation right now saying, I have the king and I'm going to execute him. Literal terrorist. You think he's going to become a martyr? Come on now. They love the king and his sons. Why would they martyrize the guy killing them? But whatever. Jimbei, he thinks he understands the psyche of the fish man, and maybe they are just lesser minds and they need to be manipulated to see Luffy as the not hero that he is. And Luffy says, hey, hero or villain, that's for you to decide. I just don't want to share my meat.
That's true. And maybe could also speak to those ends when they're willing to just have their entire nation completely obliterated. And when it's this, knowing Luffy is going to bring Fishman Island to ruin. They don't know exactly what that entails. He could literally come and just set off a bomb and kill it, disintegrate the entire island. But they're just being faced with, I signed off on Queen Otohime's petition back in the day. Now Hody said he's got my name, he's gonna kill me. I think that the best solution for this, or an acceptable solution, is just to have the entire island destroyed and everybody killed. It might not be the most complex, high-level thought process to try and resolve this situation.
Yeah, that's another great point, Aggie. When when he's on the live stream saying, I have all the petitions, and if your name's on it, I'm going to kill you. That should be another clear thing for like every single person on Fishman Island to be totally fine with Hody being punched. That's crazy. But
like
that is a fun
Jr.,
reveal too. He's like, I got all the names.
There's a 5-year-old Hody Jr. out there just running around, and it's like Hody's on the screen. I'm gonna kill Fishman Adam Aaron, Fishman Adam Brown, and then like Luffy comes and kills him, and then right on camera, and the Hody Brown Jr. or Hody Jones Jr. he's like, "Oh man, you know what the problem here is? That somebody killed the Fishman. I'm gonna become even more radical."
And the cycle of vengeance and violence continues forever. Is there any hope?
Probably isn't super far off from some of these conflicts that we've had over the last 3,000 years.
Yeah, and on that bright and cheery note, Eggy, let's move on to a new member of the measly crew. Could it be? And I'm going to test a little bit of your Pokemon knowledge here, because our new member is Flaming Wobbuffet. Now, Eggy, if Wobbuffet here is burned, what status effect, what stats are affected by that status effect?
Well, if I recall correctly, I believe physical attack is reduced.
By, I think, 50% maybe. And Wobbuffet, can you name the 4 moves that Wobbuffet can use? Because I think he can only use 4.
Probably not. I seem to recall he had something. What did he have? Mirror. What's that one called? Special Guard or something?
I was going to say Mirror Force, but that's a Yu-Gi-Oh thing. But it is like a mirror. His whole thing is you have to guess if you're being attacked with a physical or special attack, and if you guess correct, you could deal double damage back at them. So he's a big gimmick. And with all that in mind, what should this gimmick Pokemon do on the measly crew?
Well, I always found, my main contact with Wobbuffet was from the anime, I believe, because I never really cared much for him in the game, and maybe
James had one, right?
Yeah. So I think he was really steadfast. I think he was really just hardy. So I'm feeling like this guy. What's just a good I'm too new world brained. I'm thinking like therapist. Oh, we can all. He's our pillar because we can lean on him.
That is a therapist's job, is just to hear what you're putting out and then regurgitate it back to you. And that's kind of Wobbuffet's fighting style.
Okay, that's fair. That's true.
We could probably use a therapist. We've got a lot of bartenders, which are kind of therapists in a way, but maybe an official one would help. If Tony Soprano was man enough to go, who are we to say we won't?
And, and I'm thinking we're out here. There's got to be, I think statistically, at least 1 or 2 of our crew people are developing like schizoaffective disorder at this point. So we might need somebody to have available for the health of all of our crew members. So, yeah, you know what? And we're heading to the new world, I believe, anyway. At least I think is that what the title is on the volume page yet? I know I paged over to the cover of the next volume and it is there, so oops, spoiler alert. But
Kobe told us back in Post Denny's lobby that once you go past the red line, you're in the new world. So that's probably the goal if we survive Fishman Island. But I don't know, this Noah's Ark, I think all the Straw Hats are dead and then Law becomes the new main character.
If he's good enough for a lit up poster, I'm sure he's a doctor. We need people that are good with science and medical and things to help us in the new world. So that sounds good to me.
Do we think Flaming Wobbuffet is a flaming homosexual, or is it a different kind of flame?
I think maybe he's just so passionate. He's got a fiery intensity to his approach for mental health. Mm-hmm. He really wants to just keep us all locked in, focused on our goals.
There's always going to be a line out of his office because Heartsy's in there every day. Speaking of which, you might notice next volume is volume 65. And we promise, every 5 volumes we'll have a guest. We did have JJ call in volume 60. And I'm pleased to announce for volume 65, I have ready in the wings nobody.
Oh.
I decided I don't care anymore. What has a guest ever done for us, huh? fucking making the show longer and dragging it out with their shitty opinions. Spoiling Eggy on Gunko's branch landing adventures. It's no good.
They probably, help me retain at least like 3 calories worth of energy that I would have spent speaking and talking about something. So, and obviously I need to retain more calories. But
if the only choices are E-Rich and Heartsy, it's like we get them on all the other podcasts. Fuck it. It's so annoying scheduling shit with people, making them read a whole book. So, should we go chronologically through the volume then, Eggy? We got to finish off this Otohime flashback.
Yeah, I think it's a fine idea. And also,
we had an epic... Oh, go ahead.
Well, with the cultural revolution that is currently ongoing, not just in Fishman Island, but also our own world with the 6-7 takeover, maybe, if we wanted to have a guest, I'm sure, 6-7 would be the volume for it anyway, but... Hey, yo.
I'm just going to cut that part out of the podcast and move on. Eggy, you made an epic prediction. Hey, I think the assassin is going to be a Fishman supremacist, but the volume opens here saying, no, it was a pirate, a human pirate did it. Did you just have a dark feeling? Fuck, I got the prediction wrong. How am I going to show my face at the next Measly Crew book club? But then you keep reading and it's revealed, no, Eggy was actually right. All along.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I've just read too many political assassinations in my own life.
Seen too many within the last 2 months.
If we could just have some political assassins out here in the world that were Luffy mode, where they're just like so straightforward, like, hey, this person's bad, so I'm going to do this, and didn't have to have all this espionage and subversion, and they're having to have, all these different things they're hiding behind to achieve their ultimate final goal under the guise of all these different things. But, I mean, I suppose Oda's going to write what tracks, what makes sense. And, yeah, just random pirates. He's coming out in his full Long John Silver's robe with his pointy hat on and saying, you know what, I ain't never going to let no fish man move into my neighborhood. And he starts, spray painting, misspelled symbols or whatever on the floor and starts shooting people. There's a little bit of false flag energy.
Are you saying anybody who believes the official narrative on political assassinations is a big retard, Eggy? Anybody who actually believed this human pirate did it is a big retard? And other examples.
Well, I think at least everything going back to the 1930s. And frankly, I'm not too sure about this whole Abraham Lincoln thing. I think that this John Wilkes Booth or whatever his name was, I mean, he was an actor, folks. Listen, I'm just saying, I don't know how, it might go all the way back.
Sounds like an old-fashioned libtard to me. He's a theater kid in the 1850s.
The only Hollywood actor that really, treated the politicians like he said he would instead of just keeping on talking his spiel. But
okay, that's the end of the flashback, actually. I think there's like 3 pages of it here, and then Sanji just says, kill yourself, and then, I feel like I've been fulfilled. But then the volume continues. Let's see, we find out some more information about Hachi, right? Or was that last time?
Well, we learned in this volume that Hachi, what was it? Because he was cordial, or he proposed in a public setting that he was cool with the Straw Hats and with humans because Straw Hats had done good things for him. That's why the attempt was made on his life. And I think we do get that information last volume for us, the reader, and then it sort of is revealed to Straw Hats. Okay. At least the ones that are in his presence at this time, not Brook, Zoro, and Usopp, because they're all trapped still.
Nami and Shirahoshi are bonding very quickly because both of their moms are dead. I thought that was a bittersweet way to bond, but what were you saying?
Just kind of curious, I guess, that, Brook, Zoro, and Usopp allowed themselves to be captured. I thought that was a little, I don't know, maybe there was something in the last volume that really dialed that in, but when I saw it come up at the beginning of this chapter after, not reading for the week, I was like, like Zoro, you basically took Hody down in one swing, but I guess whatever's going on, and got captured.
And they took his swords away from him too. Yeah, how'd they get Zoro in a cage? After all his Mihawk training, that is very strange. And it's all off-screened as well.
Mm-hmm.
And not even necessary, because it just leads up to Brook using his soul projection power to get Papagu to free them, but that's also basically off-screen just for the epic reveal of all the Straw Hats coming to the plaza together. So really, you could have just cut all that out, not humiliated Zoro, and it would have been fine. Like, they could have just been stuck in the palace.
I do have to say, I thought it was very, they're really not letting up on, Brook. He's maintaining his ways. He's kind of a little bit Sanji pilled, maybe. He kind of infers that the first time he ever figured out that his soul could leave the skeletal form and start floating around, he was immediately trying to gawk at women in inappropriate and sexual ways.
Can his little soul not be seen floating around like a ghost?
Well,
how do you peep on women when they could just see your floating head?
I guess if you get right in the right positions,
get into the steamy bathhouse and pretend you're steam.
Your eyes are just looking straight up. You're floating around along the ground. I mean, I don't look down that much. There might be Brook's eyes looking through my floorboard, looking at my, so and so.
Hey, speaking of Brook, we get a very epic moment when all the Straw Hats are showing off how their new powers can be used to eliminate, hundreds of fodder enemies at a time. Brook, he uses some sort of musical hypnosis, and he's doing the Nika pose in front of a full moon while playing the violin, and it convinces all of these people, all these enemies, that they're actually at a party, and they start shooting their guns in the air to do fireworks. And then while they're hypnotized, he slashes them all with his cane sword brutally. Eggy, what is this? The soul devil fruit's power being utilized to trick people, or is the magic of music itself? Because as you may recall, back on Little Garden, there's that Baroque Works agent with the paint set, and she did not have a devil fruit, but she could just paint you with color, and the magic of her artwork could influence your soul. And it Betrayal Black made it so Luffy betrayed his friends. That's insane. Is Brook's music just so artistically soul influential on its own, or is this from the fruit?
Well, I would say that I guess my first thought, if I was coming into this totally blind, I would feel like it would be something to do with his devil fruit power, but it doesn't really make any sense if you know. But it is true that allegedly music does have these hypnotic qualities. There's a whole thing online about where people will reprocess popular songs in different frequencies because it's supposed to remove the hypnotic element.
What?
And that's also the popular music usually has a heavy, consistent percussion element, doom, 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 and that rhythmic quality and that percussive quality is supposed to be essentially the tick-tock of the, hey, think about why that's called that. No, but it's supposed to be the hypnotist watch, back and forth and just in this rhythm that's supposed to have a hypnotic effect even in a subconscious level. So with that being said, I guess that's not exactly the same as the violin, but I feel like it's, in my opinion, could very much be the music.
I would like to see Brook utilize this power far more often in the future, and I'm sure he will, because it was just that epic, and there's no reason why he wouldn't. I'm sure we'll see it again.
Speaking of mass area of effect abilities that are utilized in this, as the volume itself is called, 100,000 versus 10 of the Straw Hats versus this grand Hodian army. Usopp uses a bamboo impale, where he's got all these shoots of bamboo coming up out of the ground crazy. I was he's been using a lot of new and interesting techniques, since the time skip went through and he's honed his skills, but that one in particular seemed especially brutal for him. I don't know, there was just something about it, just imagine you just walking off, so it's just boom, 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 and you just bamboo's just going through your ass, coming out of your mouth, and you're just dead instantly. That would be very very threatening for me as a Hodian soldier. I'd be like, ah!
Well, that's what those 30,000 human slaves get for getting enslaved. They get impaled by bamboo.
They should have been like Fisher Tiger and revolted instead. It is what it is.
Fisher Tiger. I love that reveal that he was just another slave. He didn't have to break in on his own, but that was forever ago. What are the other attacks or the characters' new powers in this? Really just Otis showing off what they can do after training.
Well, Chopper, he might not be walking in the sky. He might not be, I guess Zoro, he's also using just like another sword technique, although better.
He made like a tornado that keeps cutting forever. He said it will follow you to hell.
Yeah, and Chopper, he can, he's got more control over his forms. I appreciate it. I like it. More Chopper. He's got his utility while also being super kawaii. So that's, some cool stuff.
Did he not do the same shit in Alabasta against the digging mole lady? Because now he's like against the digging mole man here.
He can utilize 6 out of his 7 forms without needing the rumble ball now. So that's
and he had like a new digging form that made him dig real good. Oh boy, I'm sure that'll be useful in the future.
Yeah, so, and comparatively to some of these other abilities, not, it was a little left for wanting. Nami has this Mirage ability where she's able to basically, like, camouflage herself, and I think maybe some of the Straw Hats also on the field, so that seems pretty useful. Still kind of more of a support, but she's got this Gust Blade, so she's, coming into her own offensively. I think her and Usopp are seeing, for what we see in this volume, the most of an offensive upgrade as they're utilizing and showing their new abilities. But, Chopper, I don't want to denigrate him. I think maybe the greatest new power that we see here, at least in my personal opinion, is General Frankie. It's about time that a real one gets some real tangible powers going on. I thought that design reveal was extremely epic, in my personal opinion.
For the pirate Shogun, his transformer, whatever, when robots combine into a new one. I like that the gunner on his robot is just him coming out of the stomach to shoot them. That felt like a classic video game where that's the only time you can shoot the boss is when he comes out to shoot you. But we need to talk about Robin, because Robin, she's casting full shadow clone jutsus now. Like, she stands between Luffy and Jimbei's fight. And then it wasn't even her at all. She just completely disappears. She's sprouting giant, sexy legs with those thick thighs and just stomping people with her bare feet to death. I mean, if you could sign up for any death in One Piece, Eggy, I think I know which one you're choosing.
I mean, I'd probably be holding on to the toe and just, like...
trying to go up with it.
I'm going for like 5 or 6 stomps. It is what it is.
He's got his tongue out trying to lick the soul and everything, yeah.
I mean, hey, if I'm some human slave or some like fish creature that's been over here, yeah, life's good. But if I got to face the music and I haven't faced Brook, then give me those giant, beautiful legs and toes. It is what it is.
Brook and Robin both defeat people with soul power. Probably intentional. Oda definitely knows that pun in English. Mm-hmm. Is there anybody we're missing who had a cool upgrade?
I think we...
Sanji being transphobic and flying is pretty good, but yeah, we've already covered all of it. Really, is this a volume that we could cover for 2 hours like all the other volumes, Eggy? Or is there really not a whole lot to this other than showing off some cool fighting?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really, I guess... maybe in a different universe where I hadn't been conspiracy minded for the last 25 years of my life, but I kind of knew that something was amiss with this assassination. It wasn't just out of nowhere. We get Hody. I don't know. He's taken the steroid enhancements for his strength, but I don't know. I feel like it's not really going anywhere, I guess, even in this volume, because
it transformed him, right? He's like Giga Chad now, and his hair is bright white. And Jinbei's like, what the fuck happened to you?
Yeah, and I mean, it's still an ongoing conflict. I'm sure we'll see something more to do with it in the next volume. But with it being introduced last volume, they say, oh, it's gonna, I thought, I just felt like, when we get that visual of him that has changed, I thought it was going to start being some berserker stuff, like he's going to start, like his eyes are going to roll in the back of his head and he's just like going to start losing control and just like do some crazy out of control stuff. And then Vanderdecken, like that's why he's my top of mind. He's really the one that's bringing them like the apocalyptic thing. And it's just,
yeah, and he was barely in this volume. I think it's interesting that Vanderdecken and Hody, they have a physical transformation of their hair in the very same chapter based on what's been happening. Because Vanderdecken, after being rejected by a literal child, has shaved his head in disgrace. And then he's going full Elliot Rodger and needs violent vengeance on everybody who wronged him. Going against Hody's plan, I have to assume, by destroying Fishman Island. But all of the villains are pathetic. Not just in character, perhaps, but in strength. And it's, obviously it's intentional from Oda, because we want to see, our characters are really those guys, and they could fuck up all these people really bad. But then you have chapters like 630 here, where I took only 2 notes, because the entire chapter is reintroducing all of the new Fishman pirates who actually get names, and they each get like 3 pages to establish their personality again. And I don't know why my time is being wasted. These characters contribute nothing, and they're defeated pretty much also in this very volume, all in the same chapter. Like they put up no fight. We've got one guy who he blends into the environment, and then people are standing on him, but he's too prideful to admit it. Like, okay, that's kind of funny, I guess. Why did I spend 3 pages reading that? And in the anime, I imagine that's a 10-minute scene.
Like, Ikaro, I just don't like him, okay?
Which one is he?
He's hi itch, I'm time itch, glitch itch, everything's itch. And it's like dried squid.
Oh, he's the little dude?
Squid, and
he's the guy. He's the digging guy?
The 8-armed with the special needs helmet.
Oh.
Everything's they're gonna turn me to fried squid, and I'm Squidditch and Quidditch, and I'm like, I mean, it just doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't really. I mean, like I said, I'm not. There's still more to go. Okay, this wasn't the end of the arc, but yeah, like you said, it's all this exposition, a lot of. Okay, he's got this quirky thing that needs to be repeated 50 times. Feels a little bit like. A little fillerish, a little like stalling-ish.
Yeah, just like the fucking meme with the 5 little mermaids with Ika, Nika, Bika, and Dika. Fucking, it's just a waste of time with a mostly unfunny bit that is being repeated. And a lot of our main Straw Hat characters are being flanderized down to their little bits in this arc as well. And I'm not going to say Fishman Island's a bad arc, like a lot of people do, but I think the people who hate it the most must be anime only. Because the anime version of this has got to be horrible. I think the episode count is near the chapter count. So we're complaining about the pacing in this extremely fast-paced manga. Imagine the torture of having to sit through all the 630 character introductions that are a waste of time.
And and this kind of is another upsetting part about this chapter in particular, because we have all this, it really is just all this quirky bits, this character that's going to be knocked over by hockey and completely irrelevant again until maybe next volume. All we can do is hope. But the way it closes out 630 is Hody, he's, in crippling suffering. He's been popping these pills. His roar of pain is so great from the skies that the sea bear, who is like this horrible monster that's under his control, is a ruthless, relentless killing machine. The sea bear hears this scream in the last panel of 630. Is sea bear is drenched in sweat. His eyes are bulging with veins. He's horrified because whatever Hody has going on, is gonna be so great. And so when I go to the end of this chapter and I kind of get through all the, I don't really care about it, and then this is like the end of it, I'm feeling like, okay, here we go. Whatever's about to come next, oh my goodness, this is where it's about to really start popping off, really heating up, really going crazy. And like I said, we do get the visual confirmation of his transformation. I'm sure the next volume is we're gonna see something really, at least greater than what we have seen so far come from Hody, because it's gonna be really the final showdown. But it just seemed like it was supposed to be coming, and it just didn't really ever show up for the most part.
He better pop a lot more pills if he's gonna fight Luffy, because that Jet Gatling or whatever attack fucking knocked him pretty hard. It's anything else about Hody? He has the Kraken's brother at the North Pole, he said, held hostage, I suppose, and Luffy's like, yeah, whatever, I'll just beat him up, don't worry about it. So pretty easy.
I mean, yeah, kind of just with the immediate introduction of the Kraken, I just knew. I mean, we have the backstory. Has not been too far removed. What was it, 2 volumes ago, with him, Zoro, and Sanji and the Kraken. So I kind of saw where that was coming. It was a little surprising that he was still willing to start strangling the princess until Luffy was like, "Hey, bro, hey, we cool? We cool?" And it's like, all right, you know. And I guess to be fair to Hody, I will say, you know, it has upgraded his water shot. We do see him. I mean, he attacks Madame Charlie. She still is alive.
Yeah, a non-combatant is still alive from your attack. Come on now, Hody.
It's interesting because when he gets reintroduced in this new form, his Giga Chad form, if you will, and he attacks this like suicide bombing pirate, his water shot travels like some insanely large distance and ends up, like hitting whatever, and
lands in like the mermaid inlet.
Mm-hmm.
So on the hypothetical character tier list ranking that we'll do for Fishman Island in 8 months, is Hody ranking very high right now compared to other main villains we've had in arcs past?
Well, he really talks a very fierce game, and like you said earlier, that his end goal incorporates him going to Marijoa and killing all other leaders.
Makes me want him to win.
Ruler. Yeah, it's the rhetoric, I think, is on another level. I mean, it's very Arlong reminiscent, but he's even reaching for greater heights. And we get at least the context for why that is, that Arlong fell for certain reasons that just radicalizes him further to push for further and greater results. So that's all very agreeable, and he wants what's best for, he wants to just flip the script on everybody. He was willing to do whatever it takes to eliminate all bits of weakness, other than the fact that all of his soldiers are pathetic and just crumple instantly after a little bit of, Luffy hockey. But besides that, I think he's got a strong head on his shoulders. Maybe the drugs are starting to give him a little bit of that king's, delirium. I just need to see him back it up a little more, I guess. And maybe he'll have maybe if he dies, maybe he'll have a valiant fight to the death and say, well, if this is what it's got to be, I'm dying for what I believe in. I don't know. I can't say that because I don't know. A lot of potential is what I would say. Some very lacking qualities right now, but I'm definitely seeing the potential for greatness. Based on just where we're at right now, I think he'd still be falling middle of the road for me, because he's talking a big game and he's not.
So middle of the road, so he's better than half. Who's he definitely better than? Captain Kuro?
I think I could give him above Kuro, yeah. I've really given Kuro a weighted score up to this point, but I think I think with Hody's backstory and where he's at, I think it's stronger than just, one fortune of a sick girl where Kuro's at.
I think the live action ruined Kuro for me forever, just because I could not stand all the choices they made.
Yeah, the cat twins were a little freakish. Shout out to the cat food,
I will never complain about Butchie or Siam becoming a sexy little lesbian. I didn't like the actor they chose for Kuro or anything he did. And the special effects were gay as hell. It's like I'm watching a 2009 like WB show, but whatever.
Reminded me of Video Game High School. Shout out to Freddie Wong or whoever that guy was that made that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, a little bit of recency bias maybe, but Moria, I mean, he was doing some cool things, but yeah, I feel like Moria, yeah.
That's probably fair.
He's too lazy, a little performative. He got smoked in the Paramount War pretty easy. I mean, like, I love Buggy, and he had his whole redemption, but like, pre Ennie's Lobby,
like Orangetown Buggy, you would say Hodie's doing better than him, for
sure. I guess, to be honest, probably Don Krieg. I mean, Don Krieg's got that strength, he's got that cunning, but I feel like Hodie's, like I said, he's very proficient in putting forth his ideology, and he's very committed to it. I mean, I will say, although he's kind of still not finalizing anything necessarily, he did kidnap the king, he did lure the royal princes, attack them successfully pretty well. He's got all these names of traitors that he's going to execute. He was able to put together this 100,000 army, even if they were a lot of
slaves.
Left a little wanting, with their combat abilities. But, I mean, it's still something to say that he was able to get that many together for his cause, even if, 30,000 out of the 100,000 were there against their will. But it's just a lot of, like I said, potential. The potential there is very, very strong, depending on where his actions are going to go from here in this volume and what he's able, to accomplish. Not that I want him to, slaughter a bunch of people who I would prefer over him, but if I want to, give him a certain ranking in his villainous actions, like, he's going to have to do a little more villainry if he wants to chart there. Not that I want him to, but it is what it is.
Eggy, there was one good scene that we forgot to talk about. It was very brief in chapter 628. Robin, she's doing a little bit of archaeology, a little bit of historical research here. She finds a strange poneglyph that seems to have an apology letter written on it, and she's asking who Joy Boy is. Eggy, what do we make of all this?
Well, my rotted brain immediately thought of the word soy boy, and then I laughed to myself, and I was like, but I mean, if you took the word joy boy and you asked me to ascribe it to one character in One Piece, I mean, I'm probably going to go to Luffy, because he's, got that sort of childlike, very blunt, straightforward, and love and joy of many things, compared to everybody else. Everybody else has a little bit more of a, some stuff that they've gone through that might not reflect that entirely on them, but that's kind of where my mind goes. And Gold Roger was around for the poneglyphs, but I feel like, the timing of whenever this was going on might not involve Luffy existing yet. So, and it's hard for me to say.
Could it be a time-traveling Luffy?
Well, that's not what I would think, if off the top of my head, but it could be. Maybe there's somebody from Ohana that was a
Ohara?
I'm gonna say it wrong every time.
Ohana is a funny way to put it.
Lilo and Stitch, isn't that's what they say?
I think,
family or whatever.
Here in the Iowa, Des Moines region, there's a place called Ohana Steakhouse, which is where they also make the food in front of you. And they would have commercials where the chef, people would point at him like in a public place and say, "Hey, you're the guy," and then he would, because he does this with the spatulas. Yeah, Ohana Steakhouse commercial. Go check that one out, folks.
And see, I think why I keep confusing, because there's also an O'Hara International
Airport. Yeah. Where's that at? Chicago?
Yeah, I believe so. So anyways, maybe there's another person who could have got out, and maybe they're still going around and amending poneglyphs yet with their knowledge of the ancient language.
Did they not have papyrus at the time? If you're going to write somebody an apology letter, do you really carve it into an indestructible, giant, unmovable block of stone? Or perhaps movable, but I don't know if I'm lifting that thing.
Yeah, and only utilizing one side. I mean, what if they end up like making the trail on the other side over like 300 years and everybody like
Make a typo halfway through.
I have a picture of the poneglyph here, and there's a considerable amount of it covered in moss, even some over the text that Robin is allegedly reading. So, you know, it could have just got totally grown over by who knows what and just forgotten about. I mean, I guess somebody would have come and brushed off a giant, strange block in the middle of a forest, but I do not know who Joy Boy is.
No.
Luffy makes me think, but I don't think it would make sense. Might be something that I'll have to note as I learn more as we go.
Yeah, I can't wait to find out who he is, what he's sorry for, who he's apologizing to. Strange, random little thing to throw in here and then have nothing related to it for the rest of the volume.
That's very true.
Eggy, as you can tell, I'm having a lot of struggles speaking today, and we're approaching an hour, so that's about a appropriate podcast for this. Any other thoughts we absolutely must cover?
Well, just because we didn't mention it all, just mention it here. Also in 628 at the beginning of the chapter, we have the new Fishman pirates at the threat of death. They're making the people of Fishman Island stomp on a picture of Queen Otohime in order to fully pledge their loyalty to the new Fishman pirates. And right afterwards, like literally as they're being put through this line to stomp on this portrait for their, purposes of allegiance, that is when, as you mentioned, Hody goes live on this giant monitor across the entire world and tells everybody, oh yeah, by the way, if you ever supported her or signed her petition, I have all your names here. I'm going to kill you all anyway. So it's a good lesson, folks. You know what? You always got to just be about what you believe in. Don't try and be a turn and tail, because your enemies aren't going to see you love their enemy and then be like, oh, you're going to kill me if I don't love you? Okay, now I support you. They know you got that fair weather energy, and they're probably going to feed you to a Neptunian.
Isn't the lesson the exact opposite, that you should be fair weather politically? Because I feel like this whole thing is it's a damnation of our current political process, where there's only two sides and it's going to flip back and forth, and the two sides hate each other. So while you're in power, live it up, but as soon as the other side's in power, they could just pursue political revenge, and then so never sign any petition, because then the people who hate that petition might be in power one day and they'll come kill you for it, It's dangerous to have any opinion when your political enemies could just take power and kill you.
That's fair. I guess, to come from my own personal perspective, just as long as I've been politically minded, I've been like an anti 1%er. I've always been like a eat the rich kind of guy. And
like Hody. So, Hody Jones would agree. My fucking hero.
I was, born in a left-wing family, voted straight, left-wing, but then, my mindset never really changed. But then they said, oh, well, actually, it's if you believe that, now you're right-wing, and then I was independent, and it's people will ascribe things based on the climate, but I feel like if you know what's true in your heart and you stay steadfast, yeah, you might still end up getting caught up in a wave of change, because maybe what you have always believed in becomes this way or that way. But I don't know if the people that were going out of their way to, I don't know. I mean, it was at the threat of their lives, so I guess maybe they had to do what they had to do. But just something to think about. It's a less thought-provoking volume than the previous, but it's got a couple little bits in there that'll keep you thinking.
Yeah, and there's a lot of little character things that we could mention, but I don't know if there's much to say about it. Like, Shirahoshi knew the whole time that Hody Jones was the assassin, but because her dying mother's wish was don't hate the assassin, she just kept that to herself. Okay, well, I guess. Jimbei says to her something like, oh, you've got such a strong conviction beyond any other human to be able to do that. Okay, I guess that's her only strength as a character then, because otherwise she's just a crying little baby. What do I make of this? What do I care?
I mean, my thoughts were, well, I guess Jimbei's just as idealistic as Queen Otohime was, because Hody literally says, "Oh well, it's a good thing you never told anybody, because now, I mean, what? I mean, there's still people that are dead. I mean, I don't know.
Like
he still has 30,000 human slaves that Luffy's taking a Gear 3 fist that's as big as a fucking airship and pounded it down in the ground, probably knocking them out of their misery. I mean,
yeah, her decision to keep that secret. The only way it pays off is if Luffy shows up on this exact day and saves everybody. Like otherwise, like you just got your whole family assassinated, massacred, killed in the plaza by Hody. He's finishing the job that he started, so I guess we all got lucky. Luffy and gang showed up, which seems to be every arc of One Piece. Really, they're lucky Luffy showed up.
Yeah, it is. It's consistent.
So I'm saying Shirahoshi not ranking high in my character rankings. Hody Jones will certainly be tiers above Shirahoshi unless something changes in the next volume or 2 or 3. How much longer could Fishman Island go, Aggie?
I could see doing another 2-3 volumes, because we have, this impending arc collision. We still have something we're gonna have to resolve with Hody. I'm gonna believe Madame Charlie. She's saying Fishman Island's coming to ruin. I think they're gonna need some sort of maybe the arc will be, if it's half the size of Fishman Island, maybe they're gonna condense the island and float it up to a sunnier tomorrow. That's what the royal brothers were trying to keep Otohime's dream alive of, that sunnier tomorrow. So yeah, I feel like we could probably get that all handled in 2 or 3 volumes, TBH.
We did not mention a few of the cover story updates we've got. I didn't write them all down, so if I missed anything you wanted to mention, let me know. But I think one of the biggest takeaways here, homeboy Wapol, he's now the king of the evil Black Drum Kingdom. He turned his corporation empire into a kingdom. He's king again. He gets to go to the referee again, just like that, by getting rich. It's all it takes. He was under a bridge getting peed on by a dog a month ago.
Motivation,
I guess 2 years ago, really.
Doesn't Frankie say, I don't have the exact quote, but it's something about that.
Wapol medal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. He built the Frankie super soldier thing out of Wapol metal. Where did he get that? And he says, like, Vegapunk, your dream has come true. Wow. I hope they meet each other and he can show off his cool robot to him. His dream came true.
Yeah, the look of this like evil secret society kind of thing he's got going on. Yeah, and the mustache, the white flowing hair. Hey, Wapol's looking good. So I mean,
you got some ladies with him.
I'm not trying to be in love with evil, but he's got a baddie and a square-headed dog creature. Maybe that's the one that was peeing on him. I don't know.
We also see
everybody blowed up.
Crocus and Shamu at the Twin Cape, and they have a visitor, somebody wearing a Chinese pointy straw hat of some kind. But we don't see their face. Do you think we know this character who's visiting Crocus?
Well, Silvers didn't have hair that long, right? So I don't think it'd be him, and it would be a little maybe out of his way to go and visit. Well, at least, yeah. Silvers, he was after the time, or yeah, he was still after the time skip, right?
Yeah. He saw them off at Sabaody.
Mm-hmm. But I do like how, Shamu, you said Laboon's got the the Luffy pirates symbol drawn on over his scars.
Yeah. Well, Luffy did that, and I guess it doesn't wash off. So if goddamn, I keep forgetting names. Crocus, he's a former doctor on the Gold Roger crew. Are we thinking maybe it's a former crewmate visiting him? Could this be Gold Roger himself, Aggie, who survived his execution and he's here to hang out?
That wasn't my first thought. I guess that's why my mind did go to Silvers, because I'm like, oh, maybe he's grown his hair out. Maybe he's got fast growing hair. Maybe this could still be him post time skip, and he just still his hair grew out a little bit longer, or maybe he's wearing a wig. Who knows? But probably a man with gray hair and a robe and a cape, and we're not knowing who he is. That's just where my first thought is. But I still think it's somebody who would have an association with the Oro Jackson crew. I think, even if I don't know who it is exactly, I believe the association exists.
Did any other covers stick out to you this week?
Well, I did enjoy also the little garden of Dory and Bogey. They got the news like falling over them, but they're just still punching each other in the face and knocking each other out, so they're not even looking at it.
And the big title above it says friend or foe.
That's right.
Are they friends or foes? It's hard to tell. Keep punching each other.
They're in love with they're just deep in the game. And of course we have to say, Cocoa Village, the Bellamere gravesite, and with the Tangerine Farm, I think this is maybe the first reveal of the Bellamere Tangerine business. Did we get any of that before? I don't know if we
That's
saw
probably
that
new.
Logo.
And Genzo, he has a reaction to Nami's sexy bikini photo of some kind. I don't know if he's upset or what, but that's not a blood relation, Genzo. You don't got to worry about it.
That's right. She's of age, consenting, non-related, live, and all those important things.
And it's not grooming just because you knew her since she was 7. It's not like you were trying anything, Genzo. You could jerk off to a picture. My God. Fucking pansy.
Although,
anything else, Iggy?
The reaction on her mother's grave, I'd like to think maybe it's more of some kind of just intense emotions and not necessarily, because that'd be kind of shitty maybe for him to be all like ogling her right at the gravesite.
No, I think he's like upset that she's showing so much skin. Like he's having like a fatherly reaction to it, I think.
That's good. And then some, cover stories of less important characters. I don't know, the Log Town. I don't know if I even remember who this like balding janitor guy is.
That's the guy who gave Zoro his sword for free. And he's so happy that his sword is now in the hands of a famous swordsman. That
my God,
he has a poster of Zoro hanging up in his shower, which I have to imagine is also for jerking off, because what else would you be doing with that in there?
Yeah, I thought it was just like a foggy mirror this whole time, but I did just page back over it and I could see the like half of Zoro's face. So I was not looking close enough. I was just like, who's this fucking bald janitor cleaning this? I can see his underwear or whatever. I'm just going to keep paging through. And then speaking of beautiful people, we have, is that Mrs. 10 or Miss 10 of the Baroque Works, the very muscular, masculine woman.
Yeah, the muscle mommy. She had a baby with the little twink who was friends with Vivi, the guy wearing the crown.
So really happy endings all around, no pun intended.
And I think that might be it for volume Nintendo 64 of One Piece, Eggy. You got anything to plug this week? Gonna groove Buggy the Clown?
That's right. Go keep running them Groove Buggy streams up. And, as I listen back on, it's a cover, that's Coming to Take Me Away, but that's still jamming pretty good. So, but you can find it all on Spotify, Apple Music, etc. And you can find the links to my artist profile at mysweetmonkey.com. And let's go ahead and handle some Hody Jones Keister next week, folks. We're going to show these fishmen who the real master race is. I'm talking about multicultural Straw Hat Unity. Love wins.
And since this is an arc about racism, I will be calling my neighbor JJ again to get his take on Volume 65, so look forward to that. And I think that's it. Peace, people.